Hey guys, so we are going to be doing a project today that is going to help us with our spring play project. And what we're going to be building is a shadow puppet theater. Now, because we're all working remotely, we all are going to have to build something like this. The one that I'm going to build for you today is a little intense, okay? But it doesn't have to be this intense when you do it. Really, what you need is a single wall that has a hole in it that's covered with parchment paper. And that way we can shine light through the back and create the shadow play. The one that I'm going to make is one that you certainly can make. And honestly, go for it because it's a lot of fun. But know that it is a little intense. What I'm going to be using, Max, if you stand up. Max is my cameraman. Max, say hi.
Hi.
So, what I'm using today is quite literally the box from my lawnmower. I'm going to be using the box from my lawnmower to make a ShadowBox stage. So all you need is a big box. If you really would like to go high quality, you could use foam core, but you don't need to do that. I'm not going to do it because I need that for another class. Other things that you'll need: tape, a sharp pencil, a sharp knife. This is an X-Acto knife. You don't have to use an X-Acto knife. You need to use something that can cut through cardboard. That might be a box cutter. It might be an X-Acto blade. It might be a really good pair of scissors, not sitters. You could even have parents do it for you if that's something that makes them more comfortable or you more comfortable. Okay, so just know that that's our goal today, is that we're going to be making a shadow puppet box out of a used box. Mine is big. Yours does not have to be this big, but know that the smaller your shadow box, the smaller your shadow puppets are going to have to be. And that is going to make a difference.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin on our very first piece, which is the one piece you'll absolutely need to make. So here we go.
And what we're going to be using is parchment paper. You can also use wax paper. Either of those will work. Wax may actually be a little more durable, but I, like you, am using what's around the house.
Testing for the size of things is really important. What we want to do is we want to create a 2 to 3 inch border around the entire thing so that we know your parchment paper will fit.
You'll notice that there's no back. There's no back because that's where your light source is going to come from, right? We're going to have a lamp that shoots in a single source lamp, right? You only want the light to come from one place, and that way it can create the shadows. So very important when you're doing this, keep your pencil sharp. Okay, it gets real beat up. What did I say? I said 3 inches.
So I'll go through and I'll measure 3 inches in from the edge all the way around so that I can create that 3 inch border that extends all the way around the proscenium wall. This is what's going to create the opening that you'll cut out in a few minutes. So you want to make sure that the guidelines are pretty clear.
So I've cleaned up the edges, right? And I'm about to do the line in between. We'll do that opening, and then we are ready to assemble. Okay. So like I had said, we're going to do 5 inches off the side.
So what we're doing now is making sure that those lines are straight, they're extended, and they cover the whole thing so that when I go back through with a knife, I have a guide that I can trust.
Doing this on the floor, ladies and gentlemen, I will just simply say that it makes me feel old. My back, kiddos.
Despite my age, I'm working very hard at this. So you'll notice that I'm using the ruler against my knife at all times. You never want to use the knife without the ruler because you'll lose control of it, and then you're going to end up with a really, really, really rough edge. So make sure you're using a guide. It's really, really helpful. And you'll also notice that I'm going over each line about 3 times. make sure you're getting all the way through the cardboard. Otherwise, again, it'll get real messy.
We have completed all of the cutting elements, right? Now, you'll notice that I've chosen this box, and this box has designs all over it, and that they are ugly as sin. Well, we aren't going to use this side for the outside, okay? We're going to use this side for the inside. So the next step is to take your new proscenium wall and you're going to let this overhang just a little bit. You can see that. And I'll take my tape. And for now, what we're going to do is just do tags, right? Little pieces of tape that hold it in place. We'll come back and make it a little bit more permanent later.
So at first, all you need to do is tape 2 corners, and that way you're setting yourself up for the rest.
So this is a little out of square, and while the square doesn't really matter, we like taking pride in our work.
So now that I have it all squared up, I can cut my parchment paper to size so I know what I'm working with.
So this piece right here that I'm doing right now is probably the most important thing, because if you can only accomplish one thing, it's going to be this piece that I'm doing right now, okay? Because when push comes to shove, all you really need for shadow puppets is the screen. The reason why I'm making all of the other stuff is because by doing that, I don't have to think about where I'm putting it. I can put it on a couple of chairs and reach from every point. If you just have this, figuring out how to control the light and stuff like that becomes a lot more difficult, okay?
So finishing touches, ladies and gentlemen. Now what you're going to do is you're going to apply tape around all of the edges of the parchment paper so that you know that it's securely fastened to the back of your cardboard. And this is the screen that we will be using to do our shadow shows.
Now you have a shadow thing, right?
So up next, we're going to start building this larger box area so that you can have a freestanding theater if that's what you choose to do. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm going to just lay on the box that I'm about to cut up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up this side, and this is one of the side panels. Now the side panels of the shadow box you want to be able to reach through so that, yes, there's Max. Say hi again, Max. Yeah. So the first thing you're going to want to do is be able to do is reach through the side behind this shadow plane so that you can reach in. And I'm just going to clean up the sides so that I can use it.
Having clean sides and clean edges to these boxes is going to help you hugely in putting this together.
I'm going to take the blade and I'm going to run it right along the ruler. One. I'm going to do it again, and by having the ruler there, I know I'm going to go right in the same path. Let's see. Voila. Okay, and now look at that nice clean edge, right?
What you're seeing here is me cutting the piece to size so that we aren't having to deal with the excess.
Right, and then see again, there's that nice cut.
Nice.
So what I want to do next is I want to be able to cut out a hole right in the middle so that you can reach in.
This is going to work exactly the same as the face of the theater. So we're going to cut out a square with an equal edge all the way around that's nice and clean. This is really important because it's going to help you access your puppets and the screen while you're performing.
Then we're gonna...
So then I put the blade right at the corner and I sort of dig in.
Gonna cut.
And then I run it along. But I only go halfway. Or a little more than halfway. I don't go all the way to the end. And you'll see why in a second. And I do that again.
The reason is this. You want to start the corner clean. So you start from the corners rather than arriving to the corners. It's a way of controlling the cut. So every time you start a cut on a straight line that meets another line, start at the meeting point.
So I'm done with cutting for right now. And so I'm going to put that in a safe distance away and cover it. And then You look at that, you pop that out, and now I've got this nice little square, right? You see this little Hoover thing? We don't really care about that. Why? Because we're not actually going to see it. This part, for now, is trash. We save that part. So in this particular case, because I'm doing a side that's exactly the same as the one I had just done, what am I going to do? Haha, I'm going to cheat.
How are you going to cheat?
I'm going to trace. Right? When you trace something, what's the problem with tracing things? The problem with tracing things is that you're going to pick up every imperfection that your original has, and you're either going to have to use it or
scrap it
or fix it somehow in a way that doesn't make it worse. So now,
what are we doing?
I've made a tracing, right? So now all I have to do is cut the tracing out. Okay, so like I said, we have just cut out the first side, we've exploded the box, we've traced the second side, now we're gonna cut the second side out. And if you look here, see how that ugly that section is right there? That's where an imperfection in the first side was. And I'll show you how to skip over that, okay? We're gonna cut the outside out first and then go from there. And I'm gonna start with the ugly side. So, if you look at it, it swoops down so that it's a little concave, right? If you take your ruler and you put it at the very ends, it suddenly becomes straight. So I am Bartok. So suddenly we've got a line that's right now, okay? Then that we can use. So I'm not gonna cut that first. I'm just gonna have that be fixed and then I'm gonna cut the sides. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and cut the excess off first.
You're going to notice that often we're cutting away ugly pieces, we're cutting away excess. We only want to be working with what we need to work with. The smaller the pieces are that you're having to manage, especially when you're cutting out of a big box, the better. So cut away what you don't need. In fact, when you start, if you take your box and cut away all 6 sides so that you have 6 different sides to work with, you're going to find that you're much, much happier because you won't have to sort of mess with the whole size of a box.
Always, always, always putting the guard back on. Side number 2. So, this is the top or the bottom, doesn't particularly matter which. We're gonna add slots into that as well so that puppets can come up from the bottom and down from the top. So we can get them into the side easy. Now we want to get them from the bottom to the top. As you can see, this is very long, very, very long. Much longer than, for instance, the cutting mat, okay? So we're gonna have to do it sort of in a section. So what I'm doing here is I am drawing all my lines so that there's going to be a 3-inch border around the whole thing. Now, because the thing is so long, I'm going to be doing this 3-inch border measurement in several places. Now, the thing to remember about making straight lines, right? How many points do you need on a line to make it straight? You need 2. In fact, if you add 3 and it's at all off, you're going to screw it up. Right? So if you want the most exact straight line, you need to make 2 measurements that are spot on.
When you're making these marks, make sure that your ruler can reach them, but you do want them to be as far apart as possible. Why? Because the farther apart they are, the more consistent the line.
So now if you look, I've got all those lined up. And now what do? You guessed it, we're cutting it out.
Yay! Let's cut some butts. We're butter cutters.
Butter cutters.
So now that we've gotten past Max's, incredibly sophisticated humor, we're going to start cutting out the pieces from the center of the top and the bottom. Just as with the face of the stage and with the sides, you want to start your cuts from the corners and go towards the centers. The trick with this one is that because the lines are so long, you're having to make that same shift down the line that you were when you were drawing the pencil line. Just make sure that you're using the ruler. The ruler is your friend. It will help you keep accurate, and safe. And so now we're going to be cutting out the bottom to the top you just made or the top to the bottom you just made. Doesn't particularly matter which. So you're going to start by making those marks 3 inches in from every side, so we've got that 3-inch border all the way around again. You're going to connect those dots with the ruler with a nice pencil line. Remember that you want to keep accurate. And then you're going to cut it out with the X-Acto in exactly the same way, starting from the corners and cutting away. The important thing here is this. We've been at this now for a little while. If you need to take a break, you take a break. We're at that point where you could make a mistake and frustrations could rise, and that takes all the fun out of this. You want to take your time. There's no hurry. And what we want more than anything else is for this to be an enjoyable process and for you to get the most you can out of it.
Let's get into how to actually put this darn thing together, shall we? Excellent. So you're going to place this face down. You're going to grab your top or your bottom. Doesn't particularly matter which one you start with.
And what we're going to be doing at this point is you're going to put the two sides close together and then stretch tape across the seam. And you want to do at least 2 layers. And then you're going to work your way around to 3 of the 4 sides. So now you've got 3 sides that are taped to the proscenium face with 2 layers of tape, so it's nice and strong. Then you can start flipping it up, and as you can see, putting tabs in its place. Now that it's tabbed in place, you can move on to that 4th side, and it's sort of like putting the face of a drawbridge right up there, right? So it's like you're making a dump truck, really. And you tape it on, and then we tape the inside there.
So here we are reaching the end, and as you can see, there are certain corners that have holes in them, right? And this is actually where something I said a couple of minutes ago I'm going to go back on, which is that we are now going to tape on the outside.
So the tape on the outside, what you want to do is you want it to have half on either piece that you're taping together, so that the center of it is going over the crease. And you're going to be taping all of the sides. You're taping all the things, ladies and gentlemen. It does a couple of things. One, it's going to find any light leaks that we have in the piece, but also it's going to make it look consistent and neat. And you always want to think about a certain level of neatness in your projects. It will make you feel better when you look at them later.
Voila! Alright, we're going to set this up in a second so you can see how it actually will work. Yeah. So the first thing is I've set this box up on 2 chairs so that I can reach down, reach on the side, I can reach up from the bottom. And I've set up a light source. It's a headlamp on a ball sitting in a baseball glove. I know, it's super high tech. And now I'm going to turn that on, right? It's a single source of light, right? So there's not more than one lamp. All right, Max.
No?
Yep. So now you can see, if you look, that there's this glowing box, which is super, super cool. So now that I'm there, I can start playing with my puppet. Sort of stuff. So these are the things that we're going to be playing with. I hope you've had fun watching our little video. You can also do hand puppets. Yep, it's true. And we're gonna play with it from there. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.